y'all, this is a Ford Dana 60 from a 78 F250, and I'm going to be installing a rear brake, disc brake conversion kit. It's from Lugnut4x4. So these are 3/4 ton Chevy calipers, and it comes with the 3/4 ton Chevy rotor, which I've already gone ahead and put on the Ford hub here. Comes with a bracket, which I've painted up, and I already did the other side and ended up using the wrong bracket, so it's already foobarred up. Comes with the hardware you need to install it, and that's all there is to it. Comes with optional brake hoses, which I did go ahead and get. So we're gonna get started here. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and sanded with a high grit sandpaper to clean up the journals here, and I lubed everything up, ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and get this bracket installed. Now real quickly, I'm going to cover caliper placement. Now you'll see sometimes some people will put the caliper on the front end facing towards the center of the vehicle. This is more of a sport car method, and the reason why they do that is they're trying to keep as much weight regardless towards the center of the body as possible. Now this is for a 4x4 and off-road vehicle. So the key with off-road is you always want to be as high as you can. So our best bet is always in the rear and as high as we can without causing any problems. And this bracket takes care of that for us. So the bracket bolts on with 3 bolts. It's going to bolt to the front of the flange. Now some Dana 60s, they're a little bit odd, and there's just a few differences. So some of these with the offset, you can see the offset there. With the offset, it's going to be facing towards the rotor here on the rear. And on some Dana 60s, we'd be installing it where it goes against the flange. You got your lock washer and your lock nut goes on the outside, bolt goes through, you're done. Some of them, the offset is just, it's tricky. There's 3 different ways you could do it. You could have your offset going towards the pumpkin, then use a spacer, or you could have your offset going towards the rotor and still manage to use a spacer. All in all, you probably want about 3/4 of an inch between the bracket and your rotor when it's installed, and there's really not a big way to double check that. You're just gonna have to install it, put your rotor on, go to put the caliper on, don't fit, well, you gotta try another configuration. For this one, we had to install the spacers here and flip the brackets so that the offset was going towards the pumpkin. So I'm gonna go ahead and, always when the brakes get pretty hot, so it's good to go ahead and use anti-seize on them. You don't want these to ever rust. If for some reason you ever do, you gotta take it apart. Maybe you want to put a newer axle in. Good trick here is to put electrical tape on your threads to help protect your bearings, especially the seal as you're going on. Now I feel like I got pretty delicate hands today, so I'm not going to worry about it. So let's get the hub and rotor on. it's cockeyed there a little bit, but it'll stay. Got my front bearing here. Now you want to double check it, make sure it didn't come from the factory with any major scratches or anything. Make sure you didn't somehow collect any dirt or anything or sand. I'll demolish a wheel bearing real quick. All right, so we got to lube it up. One trick I found, I'll show you here. Oh man, this stuff's nasty. You put it in your hand like that, and the bearing here on the back side, you're gonna basically be slapping your bearing into there. Lube it all up. Alright, where's my rag at? I don't want to get any of this on the rotor. Alright, you're gonna tilt it up a little bit. You're just gonna gently slide it in. You won't have to fight it at all. You'll feel it slide right into place. Alright. So the bearing just slides straight in, and you can feel the hub assembly just rest right on it. Alrighty, so our book says we're going to be torquing this to 50 to 80 foot-pounds for the initial preload on the front wheel bearing here. And it says that we want to make sure we lube up the lock nuts as well. Now, this is the original lock washer, the tabs. You know, you push one tab onto one side, the tab folds over, and you can push a couple tabs and fold them over towards the front, out towards you, away from the differential, and that helps to keep these from ever moving in the future. So for this Dana 60, these were 2 9/16 lock nuts. And that's a really big socket here. And you have to get the thin wall in order for it to be able to fit into the hub. So right here. This here, after you've done your preload on the bearing with the 70 foot-pounds, what you got to do, you got to back off. It's different, again, for every axle, reference your book, but here we're going to go for 3/8 of a turn. And that's your preload. All right, torque wrench. Now we're ready to put the lock washer and the lock nut on. Gotta find my tab. All right, for the lock nut, our book says to go ahead and use 90 to 110. So I'm gonna split it and go to 100. Alrighty, we're on. pins out. I'm gonna go ahead and seize these up as well. Brakes do get hot. When you go to change your brake pads, you want to be able to get these out without a struggle. No one wants to be on the struggle bus. All right, so the caliper. Got our pins ready. It's upside down. Now I painted these. If you don't paint your calipers, they will rust probably within the first year. They'll look ugly. So I used 2 cans of spray paint and 1 can of primer, and that did all 4 calipers. So it worked real well for me. All right, so that spring is holding the piston side, and I'm just gonna hold on to the other side here a little bit. Just gonna split it. Yeah, make sure bottom and top are in, then it will slide into place. Put your pin through. My top one's in. Bottom pin. There we go. So just want to get it. It'll go in about that far. Just putting your lube on the contact points.